today we're going to walk you through our entire product vision, where we think we need to go as a company to deliver value to federal contractors, aerospace and defense companies overall. At TechnoMile, we've been really focused on how technology can be used to enhance your business outcomes. And so we've been very focused over the past year, nearly 2 years, about how to get AI and AI capabilities to enhance that workflow. And I think we're going to show you today, throughout this presentation, we're going to show you that overall vision, where we've been recently, where we plan on taking this in the future, and actually show you screenshots of exactly where we think this needs to go. We really think we've got a hook into the market that other folks really haven't thought about, and we've deeply thought about your business processes. So I'm going to start exactly where Ashish left off. So I'm going to drill down into a more focused view. So we'll start at the top level. When Ashish mentioned CEOs, what do they need a part of this organization? Our technology is now end-to-end. Our product suites go from the first inkling of an opportunity all the way through award, or proposal and award, all the way through contract closeout. And we really see that there is a need overall in the organization at the topmost level to understand risk and opportunity all throughout that life cycle. So for example, a CEO is going to want to see any real open opportunity that's going to close, but they're also going to want to see any unfunded obligations on an existing contract. There is an entire life cycle that they would want to see. Fundamentally, those CEOs also face pressures of having an enormous array of BD tools and a CRM and a CLM and an ERP and all these things. And having that integrated view in a single place for a single pane of glass becomes extremely important. But I also want to focus on, at a lower level, how our product suites will help out all the workflows and personas that you see underneath. So you see GovSearchAI. What does it really do for our clients? It is the source of the strategic intelligence, contract intelligence, agency intelligence that somebody as a market analyst or somebody really early on performing strategy can go into that tool and capture the information they need to understand which market to go into, which agency to go into. And we're going to be developing capabilities to enhance that as we go on, but that very same tool can be used by the BD and capture team to identify additional opportunities as they go along. So we're able to take that GovSearchAI platform, and you'll see this new potential opportunities capability that we've developed to be able to funnel the best opportunities from the open market into a relevance score to be able to filter down so you can focus on the opportunities you deem most important. But it's not just about what's in the open market. As you see, we can handle IDIQ shops, BD, GWAC centers of excellence. Half of the opportunities in our space are closed off. They're inside of portals or they're exclusive. So what we want to do is have a unified vision for how that information comes together. In order to do that, we're going to show you our universal task management a little bit later. But we're able to take the same opportunities you would get from these portals, combine them into the other opportunities that we have in the open market in a single stream to fill your pipeline. So once you've identified those opportunities, there's a lot of work to be done, and we've developed another capability we'll show for the contracts teams to be able to help out in the business development area early. Because I think what you'll have seen is our contract software used to just start award. And a contract manager, you look at their workflows, they start all early on, evaluating solicitations, trying to ensure that proposals are properly responded to, and they have a lot of work. So we've built out a pre-award suite that really enables that to let them combine together. That sort of information with that pre-award combined with our new Transform Copilot capability to ingest an award once it comes in, lets then everyone share that information down to subcontracts, making sure that nothing needs to be repeated for task orders and sent out, for example, delivery information for folks in operations. So we have a product suite that now aligns. And what you're going to see as we've released this is that we are going to continue to refine these suites, and we're going to continue to integrate them, and AI is going to be a good portion of that. So let me talk through in more detail about what we just released, and actually last week. The first one is this pre-award capability. And as I mentioned, what we've been told by our clients is that they want an end-to-end workflow just for their contracts professionals. And if you look at what a contracts professional does, They do almost everything. And we were just astonished just how much information they need and how reliant organizations are, large and small, on a contracts professional being able to assist in the workflow. We long had opportunities with all the information that one want to make a P-win or scorecard. We had a lot of information on an opportunity, but clients wanted a very specific way to track that every solicitation came in and that they were responding appropriately. Track every single proposal as it comes in and is going to respond to that proposal. They want to be able to do risk assessments. And as a part of our future iteration, we have a baseline product in this pre-award that manages the workflow. But in the future, the AI enhancement will allow the ability to ingest an RFP and be able to shred that RFP, put the information right where you would want it. Yes, maybe BD and capture teams want that on an opportunity as they're making an assessment, but if you're doing the risk analysis, it's usually a different set of people. And this is where our products being integrated from growth to this pre-award to this contracts really helps out. The second part are potential opportunities. Inside of GovSearchAI, now delivered to all of our clients, we have built out a capability that takes in all the information from FPDS, from SAM, so you have all the recompete information and new opportunities that are out in the open market. What are you going to do with that? Well, that's great, but there are 1,000 notices a day. You're not looking at 1,000 notices a day. So what we have done is narrow down through understanding of what our clients come to us and have the ability to immediately, the user for the very first time goes to potential opportunities. They don't have to enter a filter. They don't have to put a NAICS code, a product service code, an agency. It just works. That was a major challenge that we have seen across any system in the space. They can go there and get a distilled list of opportunities, focused, highly relevant for them. Of course, they can go in later and change that. But that's basically the first part of something which we see as a complete platform in GovSearchAI. And as something we're building out next, I'll talk about, you want the private opportunities in there as well. Also scored, also assessed, and that's coming next. But the last thing that we released just last week is really the most exciting. It's the one where we have our first component of generative AI driving the entire value chain. And so what this is, Transform Copilot, is a replacement for our intelligent contract ingestion. Transform Copilot today works for contract award, and a user can go in, put the contract in, and it is a copilot where you send it to our secure Gov Cloud. We identify it, and the agents go in, identify the critical information in the contract, all the financial information for the CLINs, and then take the clauses and match them against clauses in the library. But it's AI-based. We needed to do this. We had our old technology that basically was very form structured. It could only handle so much and required a substantial amount of training. We needed to use the power of AI, which is text-based, being able to go in and hunt for that information and extract it and then bring it back to the user to validate and evaluate. And I think you're going to see the way we handle agents, the way we handle copilots, is understanding where you want an agent, where you think it's really valuable, and where you need a copilot, where you need to spend time because you care about precision. There's a lot of activity in our space where there's 1,000 opportunities coming in, 2,000 coming in every day. You don't want a copilot. You just want an agent. You just want to sync the process. You need precision in your data. Sure, there's going to be an extraction from the data, but you also want to review that to ensure that the data is sound and secure. So where is our product vision overall? So we're going to talk about our AI quite a bit, but it's really, again, it's about you, right? We love AI. AI is it's like, I got the best job in the world. I get to get these awesome products. It's fantastic. I work with really smart people building out these capabilities, but we're focused on your workflows and the personas and workflows inside your organizations. So we have BD and capture, we have a proposal workflow, and we have this contract management workflow. And so we really want to be able to pull all those together. So TechnoMile is at its core a suite of products to help you more efficiently run your businesses, federal contracting, aerospace and defense. We help accelerate growth and manage those opportunities. We have 3 releases a year. 3 releases a year, and it's jam-packed. What you saw was just the last release from TechnoMile. We are busy trying to figure out how to enhance your workflows as well as how to put AI. But your workflows come first. They come first for us. Then come the agents and copilots. And being able to pull that in together to make sure that we get the BD, the proposal, the capture, all pulled in together, really that's where we need to take this. So let's dive in. I need to make sure you understand how we think about copilots and how we think about agents. So think about this copilot, and we got the icon there is there for a good reason. If any of you have autopilot, Blue Cruise, Super Cruise in your car, you'll know that your car still has a steering wheel. It's there because you're not going to trust the agent behind or the series of agents behind it right now to drive you every single place, everywhere. It's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. And so you want the ability to override what's going on. That's why the rules are in place, where this is not generally possible for most cars in the US to do this. So a copilot is where you find substantial value in being able to adjust the agents that are making changes in the background. So when you think about a copilot in our space, right, in the federal contracting space, it's not a car. Generally, you're thinking you're processing information. You're processing documents. And a lot of our copilots are document-centric workflows. And the agents themselves are either going into the documents and extracting information, going into associated data, extracting that information, doing a lot of this tedious, repetitive work. I have to go into a document, I have to extract the amount of money. I have to go into the document, I need to summarize what the critical capabilities needed in a statement of work. Right? Those sorts of things, endless repetitive tasks. Yes, you can do them, and yes, it's really helpful to know what's going on, but you want an agent to do these first. And yes, you want them, so what happens when you have these agents in place is that it becomes a lot easier for you to manage a lot of the activities that you want to perform. But the copilots are this visual interaction. And they actually enable you to get the extracted information from, say, a set of documents, or if you're going to write documents, see where the agents are making suggestions to assemble them together. That enables you to be more creative. That enables you to be more helpful to the rest of the organization. So again, copilots, how you work in the experience, generally more useful when you really want precision. You can interact with agents through a copilot. You'll see some of our vision for how we're going to develop a copilot is that you'll have chat. You'll be able to chat with a set of documents. But why? Because you need specific pieces of information. And these agents, they have character. You want them to have character. They want to be very different. Because if you think through, when you're trying to extract information early on, you're a business developer, you're a capture manager, you want sort of high-level information that's really helpful. But if you're a contract manager and you're trying to extract what precise clause is in the document, you don't want it to be off the cuff. You want it to be precise. You actually train an agent, a piece of software, to be like that. And Gen AI is what enables the agents. Because it's all code. You can still do this with code, right? But it's this new character that you see with the generative AI is what enables these models to act differently. So let's go through our roadmap. It's focused on workflow first, and then we'll get to the AI stuff. So again, we're not giving up on our growth, our pre-award, our proposals, and our contracts capabilities. What are we doing first? We've already laid out potential opportunities, and it's deliverable. Please go to our CX Lounge to see potential opportunities, to see pre-award, to see our Transform Copilot. But we've been talking to our clients, and they say, more. Give me more opportunities. Give me everything that's out there. So we are going to take in procurement forecasts like many others have done. But it's not just take in the procurement forecasts and the SIBRs and all this other information. You have to know what to do with it. You have to understand where the value is and how to get at it. So we've been thinking very hard about how to apply human intelligence as well as AI intelligence in this space. And the human intelligence, we have a team. We have a GovSearch team that right now provides human-validated contacts to our clients through our GovSearchAI capability, for our legacy GovSearch capability, human-validated contacts. Those same people need to be able to make connections in the data that are very difficult for an agent to do. What am I talking about? For solicitation, the number one question I get is, who's the incumbent? That's actually very difficult to get most of the time. Or if it's a recompete opportunity, which solicitation drove it? We want to connect that in the data so an agent can go in and then scan all the documents and all the data and get a preset answers to questions. And we're doing that right now. The third thing you see on that list is win it. So as Ashish mentioned, we have enormous organizations in our space, and then we have much smaller organizations. And we've learned from both of them that they need a streamlined version of our business development and capture software that does three things. Make sure that the business process is enabled and information is there. Make sure that their multiple award contracts, their IDIQs, and the opportunities there, as well as their own open opportunities, are filtered and put together, and that they're, third, put into their pipeline. If you can do all that together, you wind up enabling the smallest companies in our space. And we've been asked, can we do this rapidly? That's what it is. This is a combination of our growth software, of our new universal task order management, we'll talk about in a second, and our potential opportunities capability. Shifting over from that, though, we're not just going for small business. We think larger organizations really can drive value by combining across. And what you see below that, CPARs and past performance. In our contract suite, some of you will know, we have this ability to ingest CPARs. You just take a CPARs, you download it, you put it into our system, and all the information is there. That is the perfect past performance engine because it is exactly how you've been evaluated. We've generally in the past not connected the contract side with the growth suite, and we really think that those two need to be together, especially when you're deciding how you're going to propose and what past performances you need. Second, on the contract side, we've been heavily focused on workflow and going after workflow after workflow. In our product, we've had a small business plan capability. We're able to track small business plans, but a lot of our clients haven't really utilized it. And what we've found is that they are really desiring for a way to cut out the huge amount of time it takes to be able to put together the information to respond and put into ESRS. They want to be able to take out a contract, get the plan, all the subcontracts, and summarize the information and get it into the system. It's an enormous time burden, and we're building out the capability right now to be able to deliver to our clients that if you've connected to the actuals, you can actually get the payment basis and report this back to ESRS in a much more streamlined way. Now, I mentioned before our contract software, for the second one on the list, our contract software started at award, but our contract software previously actually assumed, I'd say, a very happy path. I'd say it's a managing of a contract, and it didn't really have all the software that you would expect to deal with turbulent circumstances and how your organization responds to them. That's what our new adverse action capability is going to be. It's the ability to ensure that if you're going to receive a notice for termination, if you're going to have any other action against you, you're able to track it appropriately, get that information to the people inside of your organization and respond and make sure that you understand what's going on. So we're building that capability now as well. And then the final item on this is a simple way, but this is relatively simple, but our clients have asked us, can you make it very easy that if I need to extend an NDA, how can I just do it easily? Right now, in our software, in our agreement management, we have the ability to create a non-disclosure agreement, a teaming agreement. You can even write a subcontract and a subcontract modification. But the idea is, can I just hit a button, send this off very easily in a simple process, not have to worry so much about this? Yes, we're working on a way right now that is much, much easier to send modifications. Now, this is high level, only some of which is AI-based. And so where I want to focus on next is where the co-pilots and where the agents are going to take us in. And so let's focus more on the Transform Copilot capability. It's based on AI ML. And again, it replaces our ICI. And what you're going to see, again, it's document-based. We just released this capability. And what I really want to focus on is that we listened to our clients who said, I don't need this just for government contracts. I need this for purchase orders. I need this for subcontracts to other companies. I need to be able to take that information in a standardized way. This is sort of our beachhead, our foundational product for AI, and you're going to see Aaron's going to show in a second this capability, how we think about this. I think it's more important, yeah, we can get a document, we can get it into the system, it's going to work. That's the key capability for us. It works because we understand there's a very long path for generative AI, and it's going to take years probably for everything to work across an organization. We want to know what can we get today, and this is what we have working right now. What's coming next is not a Copilot workflow, but an agentic workflow. When I talk about universal task order management, what do I mean? You all come to me and you say, oh, I've got these 10 IDIQs, 3 of which are all released on a portal. These things are 7 are via email, and it's really hard to make sure we're taking these and assessing them the same way. We're going to have a single way inside of our GovSearchAI capability where you'll be able to get all the emailed ones, all the portaled ones, in a single framework with a single point of view, this agent will go in to all the emails, to the attachments, to any text, and then summarize in a standard way. You can then make assessments and pull that information in simultaneously inside of our GovSearchAI, getting a relevant score about each opportunity through the task order system. Now, there are a bunch of use cases for this, and we'll run through quickly so Aaron can get it to his section. But fundamentally, you're going to see a whole bunch of different use cases. I'll actually go through pretty quickly so we can see. But you're going to see two different types, or three different types of use cases. The first use case is going to be about how do I interpret documents as they come in. The second use case is how do I create documents using AI. So for example, create documents, creating a proposal or creating a contract. The third use case is the ability to run a risk assessment or do some more detailed calculation. But that first use case of being able to ingest, we think they're across personas. So you might be doing this transform copilot where you're pulling information in, or you need to be able to assess an RFI, and we interpret these use cases in 5 different copilots we plan on building. The first copilot we plan on building, as we've had here, is for contract award. And we also want that for modification, as was on the previous slide. But we also want an RFX copilot, right? And we want the ability to basically have an authoring copilot, have a negotiating copilot. And that last one on that list, the capture copilot, is something I'm really interested in talking to you about. What we see in the marketplace is a rush to be able to write proposals immediately. But I'm very concerned that there are steps, especially at larger contractors, you need to take before then. So we really want to talk with you, make sure you understand, maybe you just don't want to go to pink team right away, maybe you want to have a blue team assessment, and we think the capture copilot concept of how can I build out a capture plan is something we need to take on. Now, these are great these are great ideas, but I'm going to turn it to Aaron to be able to say how we're going to make this a reality.
Excellent. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
All right, so Kevin gave you the what we're going to do and the why we're going to do it. Now I'm going to go into more of the how. And, how do we protect the information? So from the engineering and IT and security perspective, you saw this originally from Ashish earlier. You saw the 2 levels, right? The core architecture, the Elevate AI service. And I'm going to take you through a couple of examples about how you can leverage these AI agents as well as copilots in your different use cases. But before I really want to go into what are the foundational topics that really relate to AI, especially as we talked about earlier, Tim mentioned about the AI risk management framework from NIST. There's a number of different publications about how to secure AI systems. And a lot of it actually comes down to core cybersecurity fundamentals, right? We want to make sure that we protect the data. We want to make sure that things are explainable. And we want to make sure that you feel confident and understand what these agents and copilots are actually doing. So first of all, the foundation is the model side. From a model perspective, we want to make sure, because we're servicing government contractors, that all of the models that we provide are not feeding back information to the foundational model providers like OpenAI, Meta, Anthropic, others. These are all instances of those models sitting in a FedRAMP secured environment, which we control, as well as providing explainability, guardrails, and also the ability to validate that information. And we'll show you a little bit about what explainability means and how that is shown in a copilot area. So guardrails, though, what this means is the ability to understand what information is coming out and that it's not controlled by bias. You're not getting hallucinations or other things like that. We're controlling for that in the agent model. Now, the other part is that these models must be multimodal. Multimodal means that we're not just pulling textual information. There's also charts. There's images and other types of data that comes in to documents from the government or from solicitations or from purchase orders. So being able to control for those things and process those and handle the information needed. And then finally, fine-tuning of those models so that they're domain-specific for government contracting as well as for commercial contracting use cases and legal use cases. Finally, that, and I mentioned this before, is that no data returns back to the model provider. Next, data. Your data is not our product. We talked about this last Elevate. This is still a foundational element to TechnoMile. Customer-specific data is all controlled inside of our environment in a vault, and that vault can only be accessed by customer request with a customer key, so that any agent has a context window, and that they can only decrypt that information using the customer key. And then finally, we have other types of information that we're supplementing into the agent process from our data lake that we're pulling from a variety of other sources like FPDS, SAM, et cetera, to supplement those use cases. Finally, from an infrastructure and compliance perspective, we've invested very heavily, as Ashish mentioned, in SOC 2 Type 2 certification, secure software development lifecycle, as well as now we are undergoing our FedRAMP moderate equivalency for all of the services that are going to be supporting this infrastructure, so that you know that we're controlling for that secure data, CUI information, any FCI information that could be processed by these agents, and holding that in a way that it's secure and you can understand. Now, let's go into a bit more about what agents and copilots actually do, and a little bit of more of a deeper dive into the differences between the two. So think about an agent as an AI-led process, human out of the loop. How do the information gets processed and then gets fed back into a copilot? So from this perspective, you've got these processes that are performing without human interaction. You've got a validation of the results to make sure that they're proper for what your systems of record need to have. And then also each of these agents have certain personas, like a contract management perspective or a BD management perspective. And then also a series of tools that those agents can interact with to get at the right data. On the copilot side, these are human-led interactions. So the human is taking control. You have subject matter experts in your environments that see the information that comes from the agents, but then they can handle it, they can process, they can curate the results so that those things are validated, and also so that if you opt in, this can help to retrain the model that's specific to your company as well to enhance the further use cases. So this is more of like a consumer-focused development process. Both of these have a set context window, and that's within the data that the agent and the copilot can see based on what access you give to it. So now, I'm not going to give a demo. You can see more information in the CX Lounge, but what I wanted to do is just introduce you to the concept of a copilot. Our first one is the Transform Copilot. For Transform, you don't have to read the screen. Basically what this is on the far side of the screen, you have an input. You have a document, a PDF, information that's coming in from a variety of different sources. And on the close side, this is the result of that agent process, one or multiple agents that are extracting information from that document so that the humans can then help to process the information. So far side, contract number. Near side, contract number comes in. The user then can curate and change if necessary. If it's a summary, maybe the human says, okay, the summary is a little bit different. I want to change it. So they can directly modify that. And then this also gets mapped directly into your CLM or your growth side so that that can go and be fed into your existing contract management workflow and process. Another example, very complex data that comes in for your financial information, your CLINs, your clauses. These are other examples of complex information being handled by an agent that has a specific domain knowledge and then fills in the blanks so your teams don't have to, right? Your subject matter experts have a lot of really complex tasks. We don't want them having to read hundreds of pages of documents. You've got the right context. We're actually also highlighting the information on the far side so that they can see where that information comes from directly from the document. And then that maps back to the CLM. Now, the next interaction method is where the agent actually can be interfaced. How can you actually talk to that agent or the multiple agents that have brought information from this document. On the bottom of the far side, that's where the agent interaction area is. And you think about ChatGPT and a lot of these agentic or these LLM-based workflows are chat-based. So we didn't want to leave that out. The user does need to have a way to find out more information about this document. So then if they find that there's a value, maybe a summary, or maybe other information that wasn't extracted, or maybe it's something that they want to add, they can then bring up the Elevate Agent chat, select the persona of the agent that they want to talk to, and ask questions. What's this contract for? Here's the information. Summarize this in a certain amount of words, and then that gets mapped directly into the field so the user doesn't even have to type it, and then saved into the model for later use so that each time we process this type of document, the agent then can then keep enhancing this workflow. Another area here that Kevin alluded to is the RFX Copilot. So different type of persona, being able to extract BD-based information from solicitations. And as you can see, these solicitations come in with a variety of different information that's not specific to a contract, as well as highlighting whether or not these documents have CUI or not. And there's a number of different ways that this happens, but this helps to feed in and can work from not only the RFX Copilot, but into other processes, such as maybe beyond your capture process, you want to go into proposal process. That's where you come and you bring in your authoring copilot. And we're looking at the ways of bringing these copilots in and using the same types of tools like Word, Word Online, to enhance the process, generate your proposal outlines based on the requirements from the government, and then also leverage past performance. The agent can leverage the past performance from your vault to then fill out this so that you get the first draft quickly so your teams can then work more quickly. So now, just finally, I wouldn't be a proper engineer without putting up a data flow diagram. You got to love it. So first of all, you've got your information that flows into the company vault or to the TM data lake. Again, that company vault is your specific area, your information that only can be unlocked by the key for your company. That sets the context window for one or multiple agents who can take actions on those documents. Digitization, summarization, they can generate information, they can also recommend other details. And then those can be fed to a copilot, or they can go directly and not even have to be in the loop with the copilot, like feeding in potential opportunities into your pipeline as well. So again, core foundational level of security, agents helping humans do work more quickly. Now Kevin's going to take us through the roadmap so how you can see when these things are going to be released.
Thank you. All right. So yeah, it's a legitimate question. Like, when are we going to deliver all this cool stuff? And so, as I said, for our initial Transform Copilot for contract award, we delivered it, right? So we are in means of actually being able to push this into our clients' orgs right now. We're making sure we can make that work. But the award is only half the picture. A contract award has a lot of information, a very lengthy document, but it happens only once. Modifications happen an enormous number of times. They're smaller and much more difficult because the information comes in usually through some sort of narrative. And so the ability to actually get our Transform Copilot for modifications, we have targeted for our first release of the year, February, March, as well as this universal task order management capability that we discussed. The full capability will come out in March. We're working with a number of clients right now to try to deliver this as early as possible because there's tremendous demand to make this happen. The next release, in the middle of next year, we are going to take our Transform Copilot with this capability to have the agent ask very specific questions, pull it back, add that information for this RFX Copilot. The way we've been thinking about this and where we're planning this out now is that you get the same sorts of information with Transform Copilot, but you also can assess the statement of work. You also assess the proposal instructions, the evaluation criteria, and pull out labor categories. And be able to pull that information into an opportunity, solicitation, or proposal object in our growth or contracts product, making sure we can fit this in exactly where people need it. In addition to that, we need to make sure, as we're building this out, because that runway of different information that we can take out, whether it's a CLIN, a clause, a statement of work, that needs to be flexible. So we're building out a flexible runway. And then also that enhancement of opportunities through AI to be able to ask any given question, be able to do that with AI, and human-based enhancement will be in the middle of next year. And then at the end of next year, you see something, words we haven't used yet, because we needed to make sure you all understood what we were trying to get at. Citizen development for copilots. This is where you have an environment in TechnoMile, where it's your secure environment, where your information will live. And yes, we have these foundational models that can be trained, but a lot of clients say, well, I've changed all that information in those documents, I've made all these changes. The improvements are going to come from your team to insist models for your specific company. A lot of clients don't want to share information outside of their environment. We understand that. For smaller clients, we will always have foundational models that we have trained broadly, but a lot of clients want to be able to develop their own versions. And how does that work inside of our vision? Your users will actually be able to change information, and their changes go train the model. That's what we mean by citizen develop, and that's at the end of next year or early into 26. And those authoring, negotiate, and capture capabilities, they're further on the horizon. We're working on them now in terms of general concept, but we're right now really focused on the read capabilities, not on the write capabilities of our Transform copilots. So that's our discussion for today. I want to thank you very much. Hope you share our excitement for this vision.